Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm kind of looking back and forth trying to see. Feels like I'm in a little bit of a little bit darker today here than normal, but it is what it is. You guys can see me okay. Welcome, good morning to the Tuesday Trader live stream. Let me get back over here to my good my best view with my comments here, Mr. Vanish, Joseph, Joy Joseph, good morning. Hope you're doing fantastic. I know it's good evening for you. Same thing, Mr. Daniel Prosper. I know it's nighttime or getting there for you guys. Welcome to the show. Hope you are having a fantastic day today. I had a couple of things pulled up on yesterday's live stream. Let me go ahead and pull those off of there. For those of you that, why is the, okay. So let me get rid of this phone number and stuff going across the screen. It is still there. If anybody is watching the show this morning that's got some interest in Texit Coin and the Texit Coin miners, this is still all legit information here. Feel free to give me a call or text me here at 725-275-8259. But let's get rid of that. Excuse me. And let's go ahead and pop this off of here too and get over here. Today we're going to be using some BYDFi to do a couple of trades. And with that, let me get back over here to this view so that my big old face isn't the only thing you guys can see. And with that, good morning again. Hope you guys are all doing good. It is December 30th already, folks. You know what that means, huh? Tomorrow is going to be a busy day. Happy New Year. So, today's live stream is going to be slightly longer than the Tuesday Trader last week, which was extremely short. But it's still not going to be a long live stream. We'll see, hopefully. But I just wanted to let you know that this is going to be the last time that we see each other in 2025. We're not going to do a live stream tomorrow on New Year's Eve morning. Got some travel plans, got some fun with friends and family plans, got some seeing my granddaughter plans. And so this is going to be the last live stream of the year. And over the rest of this week, before next week, I am looking at figuring out what my schedule for live streaming is going to look like in 2026. There's a lot of things up in the air. The days are up in the air. The time of the day is up in the air. And the number of live streams is up in the air. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay fully committed to doing 3 every single week or if it's going to come down and just be 1 or 2. So I'll figure that out and you guys will know when I know. So we'll later on this week towards the weekend, we'll get the live streams kind of set up for next week, and whatever those are, that's going to be more of my permanent schedule. So anyways, I hope you guys are all doing great. Good morning, Mr. Eric Bernstein. Hope you are doing fantastic. And let's just get right into it. Like I said, today's live stream isn't going to be super long. It's going to be longer than last week's, although for those of you that were here last week, if you remember, I really told you guys that I thought the best thing you could do was to not trade. And not patting myself on the back here at all, but it kind of turned into a somewhat a decent advice. If you look at this, there was definitely some opportunities if you wanted to sit behind your computer screen and you were trying to, really catch every move and you were looking to trade in and out of the market, on 15-minute or 1-hour time frames. So, but if you really look, if you go back a week and you kind of see where we were sitting over here at, like if you go to right here at this part, a week ago we were at 87,964. You go to right now, we're at 88,745. So less than $1,000 from start to finish. Yeah, it had some ups and downs. But if you kind of go back here and take a look at, let's say like a Solana, for instance. If you take a look at Solana on the 7-day time frame, same thing. Yeah, there was some dips, there was some peaks, but if you look at it, its 7-day average was from 122 to 126. So there was really a whole lot of nothing burgers going on in the market. It was just choppy and sideways. Say we look at Avalanche, which is another token that, you know, we like the idea of trading on. We can see, I mean, I guess there was the all-time low here a week ago was $11.99. Now we're back up to $12.56. So, you know, there was a slight little move, but overall, you didn't miss anything if you just avoided the market last week. And for the most part, my non-official, non-financial advice, because as you guys know, I don't have a crystal ball, so this is not financial advice, is that I kind of feel like we're in the same boat this week. I'm excited for the first of the year. There's a lot of people that are expecting a good rebound from Bitcoin, and it would be wonderful to see this, you know, see Bitcoin pop up and get above 103, 104, and really feel like it's got a chance to make some significant moves. But guys, it just keeps faking us out. If we go back to Bitcoin, you know, back here when we were sitting at 87,000 here, and it popped all the way up to 89,000. You know, you start to get a little bit hopeful, but then you can see it dropped all the way back down to 87. And then here we got a pump. You know, this was on Sunday. Sunday. We pumped all the way up to just over 90,000. I went to bed that night thinking, hey, good deal. Maybe on the Monday stream, we'll be able to talk about a little bit of positivity in the crypto markets. And then by the time we woke up Monday morning for yesterday's stream, we were all the way back down here at 87,000. And then, you know, this morning, it looks like we popped up over 88, almost to 89. And now we're back into the 80. Well, I guess it's 88,774. But my point is if we, you know, go out slightly further, we do the three-month time frame, you can tell over the last 3 months even, I mean, yeah, we were all the way up at 124 here on October 26th. But if you come down to right in this range, you know, from November 21st, December 21st, now, you know, December 30th, for the last month, we've been in this little sideways chop, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not upset about the sideways chop. I'm just saying it doesn't give me any warm, fuzzy feelings about, you know, making any leverage trades. I'm still, we go back out here to the main page. If you really wanted to know my main strategy, what I think people that, you know, that want to avoid some of the volatility, what I've been doing is just picking up some of the coins that I really like, you know. So I've bought a little bit of Polygon. Don't even know where that is anymore. It's so far down the list, but I picked up a little bit of Polygon at around 10 or 11 cents. I picked up some Aerodrome at around 45 cents. And that reminds me, I picked up some Aerodrome and then I sold some Aerodrome so that I could buy some other stuff. And I need to pick up some Aerodrome because I think I got an alert yesterday that Aerodrome was down to about 45 cents. So Aerodrome, yeah, it's down, you know, almost 4%. So 44 cent go, you know, 45 cent Aerodrome. That is a, you know, a token that was all the way here at over, you know, around $1.20 in November. So I do believe that as soon as we see some positivity in the altcoin markets, that Aerodrome is one of the tokens that will probably make a significant shift upwards, you know, fairly quickly, go back up to 80, 90 cents, $1 or more. So that's a token that, you know, that I would buy. So I've been more a proponent these days of buying, like, you know, Chainlink at $12 has been a, you know, a pretty good looking token. Avalanche, we talked about. Uniswap here at $5.99. if we get all the way down here towards the bottom, I think that Cosmos, did it go back down into this second 200? Yeah, it did. It's sitting here at 101. So Cosmos getting 15% on it at around $2. I like. VeChain is another one. VeChain did, guys. I don't know if you remember, but I talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the stream. Now, I mentioned how it hadn't dipped below a penny in a long time, but that it was right on the verge. And sure enough, we got an opportunity. If you were watching it, it should have, yeah, right here. We were down at 0.0097. So it dipped for a quick second underneath a penny, not much underneath, and it's kind of come right back up, but still VeChain at basically, 1.094 cents, 1.1 cent. These are projects that I think, as long as you're willing to hold for a little while, it would certainly be very hard to lose money in the long term on these projects. I don't foresee them staying down at these prices for all that long. And I mean, technically, even if they did, if you had to hold, all the way through until, 2030, it's not the absolute end of the world. I think there's a lot of us that have decided or have kind of figured out that we're probably going to have to wait till 2028, 2029, 2030 to maybe hit our financial freedom number, because this has been such a weird bull market, weird altcoin season. I mean, it's kind of crazy if we look again. I mean, this is kind of crazy. I don't know about you guys, but let's go back over here to VeChain. So we look at VeChain on the max chart. We can see here that back in 2021 here, it peaked out at almost 30 cents. And yet during the rest of this bear market and bull market, if we go back here to the peak, here back in December, this thing was only jumped up to about 6, going on 7 cents. So 75% lower than its previous all-time high during the best part of this bull market that we experienced. And now it's all the way back down here. As you can see, like if you go back out to this chart on VeChain, that looks like it's lower to me than just about any time. If we go all the way back here, no, I mean, I guess it's showing here at 007. So I guess it was in the, in the 00s down in here. That looks higher to me than this little line here, but I guess it's not. But like, VeChain is pretty much at one of the lowest prices that it's been at for years and years and years. In fact, I mean, if we go back here, it peaked up, it started to go up. It was 1.2 cents in 2020. So here we are 5 years later, and we're below the price of VeChain back in parts of 2020. So will VeChain ever go all the way up to a 30-cent token again? You can see here its all-time high was a little over 28 cents. I think yes. I think VeChain is a token that's got some longevity, that's going to be around for 10, 20, 30 years. And I do think that people that are buying VeChain at a penny are going to be extremely happy in the long term. Unfortunately, I just can't tell you when, but if you're looking to, say, make a 3 or 4x on your money, to me, Chainlink is a pretty good opportunity. I don't think we would need that much excitement in the market to run up. You can see even here on May 7th, it was 2.5 cents. So that would be a 2.5x. You would turn, say, every $100 that you put into VeChain into $250 with just a little smidgen of a pump. Anyways, that's kind of, if you want, my idea of how to handle this volatility in this tumultuous time. What I like to do is buy, because if you put in a trade with, say, 10x leverage, and VeChain goes from 1.1 cents down to 0.0009, you've gotten liquidated unless you've put in some ladders. And even with 5x leverage, you'd be looking at a little over 8 cents or a little over 0.008, and you would be looking at possibly getting liquidated, which is definitely possible. Like, I didn't think that we would see Polkadot down at, well under $2, and yet here we are. There's a lot of tokens that are way lower than I thought they had the ability to go. So it just shows you that these tokens can do some massive downturns. It's amazing to me how low some of these tokens are right now. And so, but with that, like if I bought $1,000 worth of Chainlink at a penny, and somehow it goes all the way down to 0.005, it cuts in half, and my $1,000 is only worth 500. I'm not too concerned, because in the long term, I know that it's going to pop up. I also know that I could buy some more. I could buy some more Chainlink at 0.005 and cut my average cost down to 0.0075. So when you're dollar cost averaging, when you buy something and you own it, you're not really too worried about the price fluctuation in the short term. On that note, this is the Tuesday Trader live stream. So let's go into, if I was going to do some trades, I think what I would do, flashback over here to BYDeFi. For those of you that aren't on a cell phone and can actually see this, we got into an avalanche trade at $13.95. So and it's all the way down to $12.58. But because we only did 3x leverage, our liquidation price is still all the way down at $9. So we're still almost 30%, 25% that it would have to drop from here in order to get down to that liquidation price of $9. If you could see, great. If you can't, I'll point it out here. But right now, that trade is $30.97 underwater. It's about 30% underwater as far as the cash value. We got $95 into it, and that $95 is now worth about $65. But once again, with 3x leverage, we're still so far away from our liquidation price that we're not even worried about it. Same thing with this trade on Link. We got into Link at $12.97. It's down at $12.47. But our liquidation price is all the way down at 8.8. So $8.80. We're still a ton away. And that trade, same thing. We got about $100 into that trade. Right now, it's $12.33 in the negative, which is 11%. But both of those trades, because they were 3x leverage, are standing the test of time and staying in play until hopefully we get some good news in the markets. So with that, I was listening to good old Sammy Price a little bit today, and he kept talking about this too, like how we just can't seem to get Bitcoin to have a break. I don't know if this means anything to you guys, but look at this. We were just doing, the 7-day chart, and look at that. Looks like a huge heart attack. Even if you do, like a 3-month chart, we were showing how bad this looks. But this is one of the cool things about the longer time frames too. And this is a good example of that. Look at this chart. If you go out to the max chart for Bitcoin. Oh, come on, computer. Go out to the max chart. That don't look so bad, does it? I mean, it looks pretty tumultuous. There's a lot of volatility there, but it's pretty much a green line instead of a red line if you're looking at it over the long term. But what we keep thinking here is, like, when are we going to get the breakout? Like when we popped up over 90, some of us started to get a little bit hopeful that maybe we were back on our way up to over 100, and so on and so forth. And I do think that is coming, and I do want to be positioned. That's why I've got a couple of these trades in here. I'm not going to make, life-changing money with 3x leverage, but I put myself in a position where I'm in these trades and they start becoming profitable. Bitcoin runs up to 100, 103, 105. And I think that we'll start to see some nice positivity in the altcoin markets. And I think, once again, guys, if you look at these tokens that we've got these trades in, like Avalanche, where'd it go? Avalanche and Chainlink, they should be here pretty close to the top. So like Chainlink here. If we take a peek at Chainlink, you can see here over the last 3 months, say, that this thing was all the way up at, almost 20, way over $20. So this is going to pump, in my opinion, if Bitcoin starts to show some positivity and gets back above, 100 grand. This could double very quickly in price. So if it goes up, if it doubles from 12 to 24, and then we're doing it with 3x leverage, we would still make a nice little chunk of money. Let's take a peek at it. So we've got $100 into this Chainlink trade. Let's look at the take profit. Let's go up to, we'll call it $25. So this thing doubles to $25. We will have turned, $100 into $292. So we will have almost 3x'd our money on a 2x move. If it continues up, say, and we really, things were going good and we got a $50 chain link, it's only going up 4x from around 12, but we would make almost 9x on our money on that trade. And we're going to slowly start getting into higher leveraged trades as the market starts to look like it's turning green. I'm going to get away from this 3x and head back up towards some bigger leverage trades, at least 5 to 10x. But I think what I want to do for today in looking at this, there's a couple of trades that stood out to me. One of which, let's go down here and take another look here. Where is Polkadot? Polkadot should be here. Yeah, Polkadot at $1.83 looks like a pretty good spot to me. If we look at the weekly range is 166 to 191. So it's definitely got a little bit of room to go down. And with 10x leverage, we would have about a 18 cent liquidity margin. So we take 18 from 183. That only takes us down to what, 160, 165. And you can see it dropped all the way down to 166 here. But that would, to me, that would be a pretty solid trade. Like even at 10x leverage, you have a pretty good opportunity of keeping that into play. So if we do a 10x leverage trade here on Polkadot, and then we do a ladder at 165, that would be another 16 cents. So from 165, that would take us all the way down to a liquidation of about 149. And so I kind of like that. If we were going to take a gamble on a little bit higher leverage, Polkadot would be one of the tokens that I would consider doing 10x leverage, especially if I was willing to ladder a couple of times. If you ladder twice, you get your liquidation all the way from 149 would take you all the way down to say 139, about 135. So you'd be able to, with a buy-in at 183 and 2 ladders, you'd be able to get your liquidation all the way down into the $30s, which would be, nothing is safe in life, but that would give me some hope. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But before I do that, let's take a peek at one other token and try to decide whether we want, if we were going to do another trade, would we do a trade here on Cosmos Hub at $1.96, or would we do a trade on VeChain? So let's just take a look here. If we go out here and look at $1.96, we can see it dropped all the way down to $1.85 here on December 18th. But if we go back out here and look at its weekly, you can see, yeah, showing $1.93 up to 2.11. So this would be another one where we're getting almost 20 cents. So from 196, we'd get all the way down to about $1.80. And then if we do a backup trade, that would get us another 18 cents, which would take us down to about $1.62. And then another trade at $1.62, 16 cents would take us all the way down to about $1.45 or so. So with a trade and two ladders, we could get Cosmos Hub all the way down to about $1.50, which is pretty solid. That's, we give ourselves about a 25% cushion. And really, we can see here that this $1.85, right in this $1.80 range, is about as low as it's gone recently. So to get it all the way down to about $1.50 with a couple ladders doesn't seem like too bad of a move. Now let's take a look at the third token, which is VeChain, and decide between VeChain and Cosmos Hub. So if we go here and we take a peek, you out of here, son. I love you, buddy. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Don't forget it's your turn on a chess game, too. Don't want you timing out. Me and my son have been playing some chess on the chess app on the phone. And so it's kind of fun. You can play a one-day game, which gives you 24 hours in between moves. But a 19-year-old son with a job and girlfriends and all of his life, he's timed out on me twice, which basically means that I played a move and he had 24 hours to play his next move and he didn't do it. So he got timed out and lost the game. So trying to remind him so that doesn't happen again. We've had a couple of pretty cool games where we've gotten halfway into the game where it's really starting to develop and then he's timed out. So anyways, let's take a look here at VeChain. And if we go, once again, we kind of look here, this thing is dropped all the way down to 0.009, but just under a penny. But literally, if we're at 1.1, that would give us 1.110. So you'd be talking about from a little over a penny here, it would be just a little under a penny if you did one ladder. If you do a second ladder, it gets you down to probably about 0.009, and then a third ladder gets you down to about 0.008. So I don't know why, but that feels like it's more likely to happen than Atom going all the way down to $1.40, $1.50. So I think I'm going to go with Atom, although I don't think it would be a bad idea, especially if you did like 5x leverage on VeChain. 5x leverage would give you 20%, which would take you down to about 0.009 right off the bat. And then another 20% of that would be 1.8 cents. So 1.8 from 9 would take you down to 7.2. So you could get all the way down to 7.2 cents with one ladder if you were doing 5x leverage. That wouldn't be such a bad way to go either. I think I'm going to go ahead with Polkadot and Atom, though. And so this is what I'm going to do, guys. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it does make a little bit of a difference. Instead of doing a full 10x leverage, I'm going to do like 7 or 8, which gives me just a little bit more room. Man, Polygon at 10 cents, that just kind of popped up on accident. Polygon at 10 cents seems like an amazing possibility too. So let's take a really fast look again at Polygon. Man, Polygon at 10 cents. You can see we, all the way up here just a couple of months ago at 24 going on 25 cents. All the way down to 10 cents. But if we look at it, that's pretty much its low. If we go back here, I guess it dropped. Yeah, I think it hit under 9 cents or under 10 cents for a just a split second, but I can't even get to it's kind of a touchy chart here. I can't even get to that. See what it's showing for the last week. It's showing 10.26 to 10.93 in the last week. So once again, totally choppy. Hasn't even moved a penny in the last week. But this would be another great opportunity, another great token, in my opinion, to do some leverage trades on. But for right now, I only have a little bit of funds in this account. Let me get them transferred over. I'm going to X that out. We're going to transfer. We're going to transfer from spot to, we got $219 to work with there. So we're going to get that transferred over here. And then this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up here to Polkadot. Reminds me, I didn't get the, I don't think I have the, what am I doing here? Why is this not, oh, that's right. It's .dot, dot USDT. I don't think I have my BYDeFi referral link in this description, but guys, if you haven't signed up for BYDeFi, over the last year, I used BYDeFi, I used WEEX, I used BitTinex. What else? I think there was a couple more in there, and BYDeFi has definitely been the winner as far as the one that I decided to use the longest term and that I believe has the best interface, the best fees, and is the easiest to use. So if you haven't used BYDeFi yet, I would definitely recommend signing up for an account. If you want to wait for me to get a referral link for you in the description, that would be great. It would help me out if you signed up with my referral link, but it's not that big of a deal if you don't want to wait. I definitely recommend. I like BYDeFi a lot. They've been an incredible exchange. Been using them now for over a year. So anyways, here's Polkadot sitting at 182. We're going to click here. And then what I was saying is, instead of doing a full 10x leverage, I'm not really comfortable doing 10x, but I don't want to go all the way down to 5. So by doing, I'm going to go down to 7. No, I'm going to do 8. That doesn't seem like a lot, but the difference between 8 and 10, to give you an idea, guys, it's not huge, but at 10x leverage on a dollar token, it would have to go down to 90 cents to get liquidated. With 8x leverage, you would have about a 12 to 13 cents. So it would have to go down to 87 or 88 cents. That doesn't seem like a lot, but a couple of cents makes a difference, especially when you're looking at doing ladders. So if we do the first buy at $1, the first ladder would have to be a little over 90 cents, where if we do it with 8x leverage, we can do the first ladder at a little over 87 cents. And by the time we do 3 ladders, that's going to give us about a 6 cent difference. So rather than, say, having it liquidate at 70 cents for argument's sake, that's not perfect math, but instead of it going to liquidate at 70 cents, by doing 8x leverage, we can get it all the way down, say, to about 64 cents, which could be the difference between it getting liquidated and not getting liquidated. So I'm going to do 8x leverage. And I said I had a little over $205 available. So I do want to be able to do a couple of ladders. So I'm just going to do about let me see here, 200. I got a little bit more coming tomorrow. So we're just going to do one. We're going to do one initial trade and one ladder for today. And then when I get my USDC later today or tomorrow, I'll probably come in and hit another ladder. But we're at 182. Now it jumped up to 183 on me. Well, now it's back to 182.94. And we're just going to do, let me see, about 15% would be $30. So we're going to do about 15% here. That's showing just over $30. We're going to hit buy at 182.94. And did it work? It did work, but it hasn't executed yet. We go over here to our open orders, and we can see that we've got an open order there at 18294. It's 18306. So, of course, right as I'm doing it is when it decides to jump up. But that's okay. We'll see if it comes back down and executes. If not, we'll probably go in and change it. Let's go over here and pull up Atom and get a trade in, a similar trade on Atom. So we got Atom at 196.5. We're also going to change it to 8. And then we are going to, let me see, 1965. It should be decent. And then how much are we want to do? About $30 again. That's going to be right here at about, right. So that looks like 31 bucks, close enough. Hit buy long. And that didn't execute either. So we got our buy in at 1965. It's at 1967. We shall see if that hits, because I would love to jump in and be able to do the ladder so that you guys can see exactly what that looks like, what that means. There we go. Should they both, it says open order 0. Why do it? It should show positions at 4. There we go. Just had to refresh. So we got all 4 buys in. Let's see here. The Atom, we got in a buy at 1964. Our liquidation is all the way down at 173. So once again, guys, if we go over here at Atom, remember, I was showing you here that the liquidation, or the lowest price that it's been recently, is down at about $1.85. We're already at $1.73. So I like that. But let's go ahead and do a little bit of a ladder. So if we got $31 in here. Our liquidation price is 1730. So I want to come back over here to Atom, and I want to change this price. So 174 gives us a little bit of a, in fact, just do 175 to make it nice and even. So 175 is going to be where we put our first ladder in. And we want to do about double. So we're going to do, I'm going to do about 70 bucks, which is a little over double. So 30 on the first trade, 70 on the second trade, for a total of about 100 bucks. So we're going to come over here and we're going to slide this over until it shows us at about $100, which is right here. And we're going to buy long 175. That'd take us all the way down to an estimated liquidation price of 154. Hit confirm. So now we've got one ladder in. We've got one open order down at $1.75, protecting this first trade. And then unfortunately, that looks like that only leaves me about 41 bucks. So I'm trying to figure out why. I should have, if I did 30 and 70, that'd be 100, and then 30 and 70 would be another 100. I'm trying to figure out why I had $200. Why is it all the way down to 45? We did 30 and 30. That's 60. Oh, I didn't want to do 100. I wanted to do 70. That's right. That's why. Okay, so let's take this open order and cancel it, because my math was bad. And then now let's go back here. We want to do $70, not 100, Brad. That'll leave us about $70 to do the backup trade with on Polkadot. So we've got our one ladder in there. We go over here to Polkadot. Polkadot, we got into at 182.94. Our liquidation is all the way down at 161.44. So we are going to go do a trade on Polkadot. We're going to do 162. Let me see. We said liquidation price was 161.44. So yeah, 1.62 is pretty reasonable. Or we don't want 1.162. We want just 1.61. 1.62, I mean. That looks reasonable. And then we've got $70.96. So we'll just do all of that. And hit buy long. That's going to take our liquidation price all the way down to 143 on those two trades. So that's what we're going to do for today. We got a couple hundred more into the market. You can see everything is red, but we're not too worried about it. We're not trying to time it to where everything's always in the green. We just want to time it to where we're getting in at solid entries with a good potential to double, triple, quadruple our funds as things start going back up. So I feel pretty good about those trades. And, you know, once again, you guys can follow along and do something similar. You can, you know, you can definitely be a little more aggressive or on, you know, or a little more conservative. It's really all up to you and your timing and your risk tolerance. Like these two trades here on Avalanche and Link have probably been in play for a month already. So, you know, they haven't done anything because they've been in play for, you know, a month and they're still just kind of hanging out. It's the same thing with this Atom and this DOT trade. I'm not going to look at them every single day. I'm not going to worry about them. I'm just trying to get some trades in play that hopefully don't get liquidated before the market decides to move, because what I don't want to do is when the market moves, it'll probably move violently. You'll be amazed at how fast Bitcoin will decide to go from, you know, 80 something, 88 up to 110. It can happen really quickly. I think it'll jump from 88 up to 93, 94, and then boom, it'll jump up to 102, 103. And, you know, just like we have like this green candle here, eventually we're going to see something like that, in my opinion, with Bitcoin. They like to move it hard and fast so that they liquidate all of the shorts and can really, you know, wreak havoc on the market. So by the time it happens and then you try to go put in some trades to take advantage of it, it's too late. You know, so most of the time with crypto, you got to kind of take a little bit of a risk in order to get in early and be able to take advantage of a big upward trend. You also have to expose yourself to the possibility of doing a little bit of losing if it continues to go downward. So for me, it's all about, you know, the risk versus the reward. And in my mind, I'm willing to take this risk for the reward that will come if I'm right and Bitcoin does go back up over 100,000 and head back towards all-time highs. Like I believe that between now and March, we're going to be in for some new all-time highs in Bitcoin. That's what I believe is going to happen. That's my thesis. And so I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and bet on that thesis coming true. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll pay the consequences. But with that, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope this was a little bit helpful. And I really recommend, if you didn't listen to yesterday's live stream, it was a short one, but I think it was powerful. I think it had some really good content and some things that'll help you really have the best 2026 possible. You know, I'm hoping that all of us have our best 2026 is one of the best years of our lives, financially, relationship-wise, and every other wise. So if you didn't have a chance to listen to the Monday Mindset live stream, I definitely recommend, if you have a little bit of time, I think it was only about 25 minutes long, go check out yesterday's live stream. And with that, guys, once again, this is the last live stream for this week. Happy New Year's to all of you. God bless you. Be safe tomorrow, guys. I don't know what your plans are, but the last thing I'll say about that is, you know, I quit drinking around 15. I don't keep track of the date because I wasn't an alcoholic. I didn't have a problem with alcohol, but alcoholism runs rampant in my family. And I watched my dad get sober. He quit drinking a couple months before I was born. Never saw him take a drink. He celebrated 50 years of sobriety before he passed away a couple of years ago. And that made a huge impact on my life. But I also have several family members that haven't, unfortunately, quit drinking. And I've seen what it's doing in their lives. And so I decided to quit drinking about 15 years ago. And I'm here to tell you, it's not a decision that I regret. In fact, it's probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And it's kind of crazy, you know, like on a night like tomorrow, where a lot of people are going to be going out, they're going to be getting drunk, they're going to be getting high, they're going to be doing drugs, they're going to be putting themselves into bad situations. And let's face it, when you put yourself into a bad situation, 95 or 99% of the time, nothing extremely life-altering bad is going to happen, but you're definitely opening yourself up for some misery. Because even if the probability of something really catastrophically bad happening in your life is small, it's way, 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 way more likely for something to happen to somebody that's out there drinking and driving and getting high and doing crazy things tomorrow, just because it's the last day of the year and they use that as a reason to do things that they wouldn't normally do, versus if you take me and I'm going to be clean minded, sober minded, and I might still go out and find a little bit of fun, but I'm going to be in a much safer position, and I have a lot lower chance of waking up on January 1st with something that happened on December 31st that was totally life altering and wishing, that I hadn't done. So with that, for those of you that want to stay sober tomorrow, I wish you the best. I know it can be a lot of peer pressure. A lot of people, think you're weird for not drinking and doing things, on holidays especially. But stick up for yourself. Don't cave into your friends and your family and peer pressure. If you want to be sober, be sober. And I guarantee you can have every bit as much fun sober as you can drunk. So with that, I hope that some of you, decide to take the safe route tomorrow and really protect yourself and your family and your loved ones by staying sober and not using the new year as an excuse to go wild and do things that you wouldn't normally do. So with that, I love you. 2025 was great, and I'm looking forward to having an amazing 2026 with all of you. With that, have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.